Hello everyone, I'm one of your BRS teachers. My name is Niding. Today I will use this video explanations to further clarify some points about research assignment in your Solmade project. I will first explain how the research assignment is designed and what we expect in the Solmade project. And I will also show you some good and bad examples of students' research objective and research questions. For some frequently asked questions, I will provide the answers. First of all, our research assignment is a bit independent in the Solmade project. We focus on the public opinions. And in order to do this research, make it feasible, we first need to decide who is our target group. For example, we are going to look into individual users of green hydrogen energy, or the family, such as households for the green energy, hydrogen energy, or the small business. So please discuss with your group members and select one of these target groups. And then you need to narrow down your research focus. In our handbook of the Solmade project, we provide you 4 options. You can focus on the public knowledge, acceptance, experience of new energy, or their awareness of risks of green hydrogen energy. You don't need to go through all these 4 focuses of research because that will overload you. So we suggest you to focus only on 1 or 2 research focus. And our research assignment in the Solmade project has its own structure. So please look into page 23 of the project handbook. This is what your coach, who are your future assessors of the research assignment, what they expect to read. So for this research assignment, it comprises of 3 main parts: introduction part, research design part, and also the findings part. And we use some subheadings to organize the content, such as in the introduction part. You first need to present what is the research context, and we prefer that you can use the secondary data. And what is the secondary data? Please go to the course slides of BRS in week 2. We provide you several web links that you can find secondary data which are relevant to the green hydrogen energy. We also suggest you to use Excel techniques which you have learned in period 1 to organize and visualize your analysis, and also present the line graph, bar chart, or pie chart in the research context. And for the research problem or the research need, you need to clearly state why it is necessary to investigate the public opinion towards green hydrogen energy. And if you are going to use any quotations or any information from previous research, don't forget you need to provide the reference. And your BAC teachers have also instructed you how to use the APA reference style to present the reference in the text. And for the research objective, that is the next step. You need to use action verbs to start your research objective, such as this research aims at investigating, or this research is going to explore what. So these are the action verbs. And then based on your research objective, you elicit your main research question, which should stay on the same page with your research objective. In the future, your assessor, your coach, will pay attention to the consistency between your main research question and the research objective, and also the research problem. They should all be aligned with each other. And for the second part, it is about the methodology. It is the research design. And in this part, we expect that you can justify what is your research approach and why you use it. In order to write a research approach, you can read the textbook, the Saunders book. And then you present who are your interviewees, the background information of your interviewees, is very relevant for us to interpret their interview words in the future. So it's necessary for us to know all these interviewees' background. And don't forget, you also need to mention what is your sampling technique. For the instrument part, it indicates you use what kind of tool to collect the data. And in this interview research, interview questions is your instrument. So here you need to show us what is the logical line for you to develop your interview questions. And in the course of BRS in week 4, we present you that when you design your interview questions, you should get a clear picture. It comes from your sub-research question. And your sub-research question is part of your main research question. So please go to the BRS course slides of week 4. And then you can use a table to present the data collection procedure, because each group member is required to interview one person. So please jot down the basic information of this interview, such as how long this interview takes, whether it's a Skype interview or it's a telephone interview, or whether you have sent your interview questions in advance to the interviewees, and whether this audio taped interview is based on permission of your interviewees. And the last one is what kind of extra occurrence may happen on the interview day, such as it is the beginning of the lockdown in the Netherlands and people are quite pessimistic of that, or people are very supportive to that, so their feelings could be different. And in the next part is about data analysis. In this part, you will explain you use what kind of software, CAQDAS, computer-assisted qualitative data analysis software, to analyze the interview data. And the one that we recommend is Atlas TI 9.0 or 8.0. And you can also present some examples of your codes to keep your readers understand that your analysis or your interpretation of the interview words are very normal or on the same page as the readers. About the reliability and validity, you need to convince us how you guarantee that the information you collect is valid and reliable. For example, you can say, we conduct a member checking of the interview. After each interview, we send our summary back to the interviewees for confirmation. And once they confirm that our understanding is really what they want me to understand, then we can say we accomplish the member check steps. The last part cannot be ignored. It's about ethical consideration. During the interview, whether you have followed the ethical rules, such as the video or audio tapes are all based on permissions from the interviewees, and you didn't push them too much during the interview if you detect that they are reluctant to share some information. And the third part is about the findings. The findings part is very easy to organize. Just organize them according to the sub-research question. And after you present the findings, then you present the summary of the findings. And this summary of the findings should echo your main research question in 5.1. Yeah? And the findings part, what your future assessors, your coach values is whether you are able to synthesize findings from different interviewees. So in order to write a good findings, you do need to discuss with your group members and share your thinking, brainstorm it. And don't forget that qualitative research is one type of inductive research, that the statements or the propositions, or in the Saunders book, they also call this one hypothesis, will gradually emerge when you collect more and more data. So when you analyze your interview transcripts, more and more you get a clear picture what could be the conclusions. So we want to see such kind of logical line, how you draw your conclusions, your summary of the findings. And we are using semi-structured interview to collect the data, while secondary data is only used to introduce the research context. In other words, we are not going to use secondary data to answer any research questions. So that means this research is not a mixed method research, but it is a qualitative research using interview to collect the data. When I review the journals, I still notice that in week 5, some group thinks that they are going to use a questionnaire survey. This is not correct. Questionnaire survey is the content we are going to learn in period 1.3. So in this period 1.2, it's qualitative research using semi-structured interview. And each group member needs to conduct an interview, transcribe it, and analyze it. Some groups say that in our groups we have 3 Dutch students and 2 non-Dutch students. So what about the non-Dutch students? Can they interview the Dutch interviewees, or they need to find someone from their home countries? It's up to you. It's not compulsory that they need to interview the Dutch interviewees. They can also feel free to interview someone from their home country, but they need to justify clearly why they choose them as the interviewees. For example, the guy has a lot of experience of using hydrogen energy, or he has expertise how hydrogen energy can be applied in practices. So, such kind of information from outside of the Netherlands can help us to reflect on the practice in the Netherlands. Suppose in the future when I analyze the interview transcripts from the Dutch interviewees and the non-Dutch interviewees, and I find in the Netherlands there are 3 ways we can promote hydrogen energy among public, A, B, C, 3 ways. Well, in Germany we find actually they have already done the 2 ways A and B, and they find that the way C is not very feasible. I can reflect on the practice in the Netherlands, whether it is still desirable to continue the way C, or what kind of lessons we can learn from the German context. Such kind of international viewpoint is not working as comparative research. No, I will not call it comparative research, but I will say it synthesizes the public opinions from the other countries, and I can use it to reflect on the practices in the Netherlands. So this is what we suggest. Each group member can find their own interviewees, but they need to very well justify what is the selection criteria that they use to find this interviewee. Now I'm going to show you some bad examples of research objective which I have seen from the journal entries. One group says this research aims at determining the knowledge level of green hydrogen energy of Dutch public. This is not correct, because such kind of research objective indicates a quantitative research using questionnaire survey. While in our research, we only use semi-structured interview. In other words, only 6 people I cannot determine the knowledge level of the Dutch public. And one group said, this research intends to decide what price is acceptable by our customers for green hydrogen products. Well, on the one hand, this one is not very easy to investigate. On the other hand, this one is not one of our research focus. So please check the handbook. What are the 4 research focus? And how can we revise it? Now I show you the other good research objectives. The first one said, this research aims at exploring what factors may influence small business to adopt green hydrogen energy in practices. So for this research objective, I think it's quite clear. First, the target group is very clear. It's about small business. It's not about the general Dutch public. And second, they look into what kind of factors may influence the adoption of the energy, the hydrogen energy. And for this one, I can easily imagine that in the future, the group can develop several sub-research questions, such as what are the financial factors and what are the technical factors, what are the, let's say, political factors may influence them. Yeah. So this research objective leaves room for the qualitative research. And another good example is this research intends to find out what could be an effective way to promote the awareness of the advantages of green hydrogen energy in household use. Again, the target group is very clear. It's about households. And the second, they are not going to find out what is the most effective way. Because if you say what is the most effective way, then it indicates a quantitative research. You need a larger sample size. But for this one, I can imagine it can be applied for six interviewees, interview research. So they can collect information from six experienced people and to find, according to them, what are the effective way for that. Another bad research objective example is our main objective is to show people that while hydrogen energy has downsides in the long run, it will be a better and more sustainable source of energy. So this one, at the beginning, it's not correct. We are investigating people's opinion. We are not going to show them what is correct and what is not correct. So to show people what is the benefits of hydrogen energy is not our research objective. And another one, we aim to discover how much people know about this topic and hopefully educate them further about the importance of green hydrogen energy to our planet. And the same as the last one, our research objective is not to educate people or to let them know how important it is, but we want to know how much they know. We wanted to know whether they think it is important. The good example is our main research objective is to find out what may be the misunderstanding that people have about the downsides of green hydrogen energy. So I make it simpler. Instead of to show people what is the benefits, I first need to explore what are the factors that lead to such kind of misunderstanding. What kind of misunderstanding that people may have. For example, people tend to think that green hydrogen energy is very technical. It's difficult to install for household use. Or people may think it's a new energy type. It must be very costly. Well, such kind of misunderstanding, what else can we find? And what could be the factors that they have this misunderstanding? And another example, good example, is we aim to first discover what factors may hamper people to understand the topic, and second, what strategies might be realistic to educate people about the importance of hydrogen energy in household use. So I first narrow down the research to household use. And second, I chop the research objective into two parts. First, explore what factors that may hamper people to understand this topic. And the second is after the interview, I will find out what could be the feasible, realistic strategy to let people know more about the hydrogen energy. And for the research question, it should be based on research objective. They should be in line with each other, consistent with each other. So the bad example here is how and to what extent is hydrogen energy used in Dutch households. The same as what I have mentioned before, this one clearly indicates that we need to use a questionnaire survey, a quantitative research to investigate the knowledge level. And the student chopped them into several sub-research questions, such as how much hydrogen energy is being used in the Netherlands, how to promote it, what is the best way. All of them indicate that we can use the quantitative research or use the secondary data to answer this sub-research question. But Our explanation in the Solmade project handbook is we will only use the semi-structured interview to collect the data for the research questions. And a good example of research question is what factors may influence the public acceptance of green hydrogen energy in household use. And then for this main research question, I chop them into three parts. What financial factors, what technical factors, or what other factors, such as political factors. And you can see that all these sub-research questions are embedded in the main research question. Some students asked, in the Solmade project report, we need to write introduction and methodology parts. Are these the same as the introduction and the research design part of the research assignment? No, they are different. In the Solmade report, in the beginning, introduction and methodology parts are used to write about the whole Solmade project. What is the project about and what kind of methodology you have used. While the research design and introduction part of the research assignment is only for when you investigate the public opinions, what kind of a research methodology you have adopted. And please strictly follow the subheadings and the main headings on page 23 to formulate your research assignment. And do we need to upload our audio videotaped interviews? Our answer is no. But you need to present written transcripts or extensive summaries, and they need to be attached in the appendices. And don't forget, each interview transcript or summary needs to be numbered, such as Appendixes 1, Interview Transcript 1, and in the main body of the text. When you mention any quotation from interviewee 1, you can use brackets to mention that these are from Appendixes 1. Then your readers can easily locate this information comes from which part in the appendices. There is no requirement on the audio files unless your coach asks for them. For example, some coaches are doubt of your interpretations and they want to listen to the original audio tape. Well, your coach can ask for it. Is our research a mixed method research because we use both secondary data and interview data? And the secondary data is quantitative because we use Excel to organize it and visualize the results. While interview data is qualitative according to the business research methods. This is a mixed method research. And our answer is no. As I mentioned, to determine what kind of research type it is, you need to think about you use what kind of method to collect the data to answer your research questions. The secondary data only used to describe, to introduce the research context, but we are not going to use it to answer research question. Only the interview will be used to answer the research question. So that is why the current one is a qualitative research. And who are the public? Dutch public, or can we have international viewpoints? So we do not only confine ourselves to Dutch public, we also appreciate international viewpoints because all project groups are intentionally grouped with Dutch and international students. So we do value the international input so that we can have a good reflection on the current Dutch practices. And when shall we start our interviews? This is about the schedule. In week 4, we BRS teachers have already instructed you how to formulate your interview questions. And you can arrange a meeting with your coach. We hope that you can finalize your interview questions and start interviewing in week 5. If you still have some questions about your research objective, research questions, and you want us BRS teachers to take a look at your interview questions, you can post them in the journal. But I wish that you can do it as early as possible. And then in the holiday, you can make use of that to prepare some transcripts. You can also use some online software to do the transcribing. Meanwhile, we will teach you how to use Atlas TI to analyze the interview transcripts. So in week 6, we have the time to finalize our interpretation and analysis. And then we will try to wrap up the whole research assignment when you are back from the holiday. If our research objective and the research questions are wrong, can we still go on interviewing? You'd better not. Interview needs to be well planned based on a smart research objective and a research question. Otherwise, you will deviate from the right track and you will not get any point because you have a wrong research objective and a research question. So please read the handbook carefully, discuss with the group members, discuss with your coach, or post your questions on journal or the discussion board on Blackboard. We BRS teachers may also respond there. And do all group members need to ask the same interview questions? Yes, this is what we suggested in the project handbook, because we have a relatively small sample size of the interviewees. In order to check the reliability in the future, we do suggest all group members ask almost the same interview questions. It can be slightly different if you are asking Dutch and non-Dutch interviewees. And do we need to move the table of research assignment into the appendices? For example, the table of interviewees' background information or the table of data collection procedures. In week 4, you can find these 2 tables, one in red, one in blue, in the course slides. And we strongly suggest you to keep these kind of tables in the main body of your report. And you don't need to worry about the word count, because all the words in the tables will not be taken into account for the word count. And those information about interviewee background and interview process is very relevant for your readers to understand whether your interpretation is correct. And if you still have more questions, please do not hesitate to post them on the discussion board or contact your coach or BRS teachers for more help. And we are very glad to read your journals, and every week we post some common problem summaries on the discussion board. So please read it and also leave your comments. You are welcome. So these are the further explanations about the research assignment. I hope that you know how to work on it. Okay, I wish you Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and we are looking forward to seeing you back after the holiday. Bye-bye.